Hello, my name is John. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create an email sequence inside Kit. So let's dive in and look at what Kit looks like inside. So I'm inside a demo account here, and I'm going to navigate to Send and Sequences. And then I'm going to click on the button that says New Sequence. It'll ask me to pick which template I want to use for my sequence. If you don't have a template created yet, you can easily create one inside Kit. However, for the purpose of this, I'm just going to create one using this weekly newsletter template that I've already created. So we're now inside the email sequence editor. So let me just explain first of all what an email sequence is. Essentially, it's just a series of emails that will be drip fed out to your list or a subset of your list at a predetermined cadence or frequency. I'll show you how you do that inside Kit. But all it is that it's a series of emails that get sent out over a period of time, depending on how you've configured your system. So inside Kit here, by default, inside the editor, you've got one email inside your sequence. That's what every email sequence starts with. If you want to add another email, just click on this little button here that says Add Email, and you can see we've now got 2 emails in our sequence. Okay, add a third and a fourth and a fifth, etc. You can have as many emails as you want inside your sequence. Okay, each one of these emails you create will be a copy of the template that you've chosen for your email sequence. Okay. Now, if I click on whatever email I click on the right hand column, let's say I click on the first one, then on the editor, inside the editor window, I'm now focusing on that one email. So the changes I make in here are only affecting the email that I've clicked on the right hand side. So the first thing I want to do is I typically change the name of the sequence so that it makes sense. So I'm going to call this weekly, let's say weekly email tips, something like that. So that I know when I look at this in a list of sequences, I can easily tell which one is which. So this is going to be weekly email tips that are going out, and I'm going to send the first one out, let's say immediately. So I'm going to change that 1 to a 0, and it means the first email, whenever someone joins a sequence, they'll get the first email right away. It's the only email in the sequence that you can send out immediately is the first one. After that, they have to be sent out after a defined period of time. So I'm not going to create the content inside the emails, but you get the gist that you can create all the content you want inside here to make the emails, have whatever you want. Once you're happy with the email the way you have it, you need to click this little button up here to publish the email. So only published emails will be sent from an email sequence inside Kit. You can have as many draft emails as you want, but they'll never ever be sent to any of your subscribers until you've published them. Okay, so we can now see on the right hand side here we've got one published email and the rest are all in draft format, indicated by that little box there. The one thing you must remember to do is put a subject line in your email, one that makes sense. Email tips to increase your subscriber count, something like that. That might be my first email in the sequence, as an example. So I'm going to publish changes because I've made that change to that subject title, and that's email number 1 ready to go out. Now, if I click on email number 2 on the right hand side here, then over here you can see I'm back to the default subject line, and I might say tip to improve open rates. That might be the tip that week, and then I'll have the content in there. Now on this one, by default it will go out 1 day after the previous email. So whatever this says in here is relative to the email that went before it. So that means 1 day after email number 1. If I want to increase that, let's say I was sending them out weekly, I would just increase that up to 7, and that one will go out 7 days after the first one. Click publish on that one, and I've now got 2 emails published. Okay, so you get the idea, where you're just adding more and more emails to your sequence, and you can determine, when they're going to be sent based on the number of days, or it could be hours after the first one. Other things that you want to look at inside the sequence is at the top right corner here. You've got settings. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to bring us into this screen here. So the first thing to note at the top here is the emails will be sent from, and then it tells you the email address it's going to come from. Now, if you only have one from email address in your Kit account, then by default it'll be that one. And if you have more than one, then they'll be listed here. So let's say, for example, you ran two businesses and you wanted to have a different email for each one. You can have it listed there, and you can see I've got a couple here to choose from. Okay. The template for the newsletter, I picked the weekly newsletter, but if I wanted to, again, then I could change the template and pick a different one if I wanted to. The sequence schedule, these are scheduled to go out on any day of the week. If I wanted to restrict this sequence from going out on a particular day, let's say I didn't want to send emails from this on a weekend, I would just deselect Saturday and Sunday, and it means they won't go out ever on those days. Okay. You can set your default send time based on your geography, or more importantly, to base it on the geography of the bulk of your subscribers. I happen to be based in the UK, so mine's is set for 8 AM Edinburgh time. The bottom left corner here of this side is the exclusion filters. So, for example, if you send this sequence out to a subset of your email subscribers, they may at some point change their preferences, so, meaning that they no longer want to receive these emails. Or it could be a sequence that you're selling something, and when someone buys the thing that you're selling, you want to exclude them from the subsequent emails. So you can do things like that in here using these exclusion filters. So it tells you in here, we won't deliver emails to any subscribers who have subscriptions to the following selections, even if they're added to the sequence via an automation rule or a form subscription. So it gives you a way of excluding certain subscribers from receiving it. Now, down the right hand side, this is to do with sequence behavior. You can see in here it's got an active slider button. If I switch that off, then the whole sequence becomes inactive. It will no longer be being sent out. So you want to make sure that's active when you want to start sending the emails out. Then there's 2 questions that you need to answer down here. The first one is, should subscribers be able to restart this sequence multiple times? Now, what that means is that, let's imagine someone joins your email list and they want to get your email marketing tips that I've got here, and it might be, let's say, 12 emails over 12 weeks, and they get all those emails. They then, for whatever reason, unsubscribe from your list, and then maybe like a year later they come back and they resubscribe again, and they say, I want to get those email marketing tips again. In here, if you say no, only let them get them once, which is the default setting, then the second time of asking, they won't ever receive the emails because they've already been sent them. If you want to reverse that, you need to select here where it says yes, enable them to restart the sequence multiple times. So if it's a sequence that you want people to potentially get multiple times, you need to set that selection there to be yes. As I say, the default's no on this one. And then finally, the bottom right corner, it says, should subscribers added via visual automation stay in the sequence? So this is to do with when you have a sequence that's inside the visual automation. If you're not familiar with visual automations, they are essentially a way of, as the name would suggest, automating a flow for your subscribers. That they arrive in here, they then go here, they do this, they get these emails, they get those emails. And then here, the question is, do you want them to stay inside the visual automation, inside the sequence, inside the visual automation, when the last email's been published, or do you want them to move on and go to the next step in the automation? Now, by default, again, the answer is no. Subscribers should exit the sequence, and that's the one you'll want to use most of the time. However, you do have the ability to change that to say, yes, keep the subscribers in the visual automation. But the one caveat I'll add to that one is that if you do go with that option, then you can potentially have subscribers inside an automation that end up being on hold because they can't progress to the next step in the automation because you've chosen to keep them inside the sequence in here. So just be careful with that one. My recommendation is go with the default settings, and then you pretty much have everything working the way you want it to work. So if you've made any changes on this page, you need to remember to click that update sequence button for the changes to be reflected. And then finally down here you've got the option to duplicate it. So if you create an email sequence and you've done a lot of work using setting up the template and the number of emails in it, and configuring the settings the way you want them, you can easily duplicate it just by clicking that duplicate button, and Kit will make a copy of that sequence, and then it will be listed in your list of sequences, and it will say copy of, and then it'll be the name of the original sequence it copied it from. There's also a reports button up here that once you've had your email sequence up and running for a while, you can then start to interrogate the reports to see which emails are being opened, which ones aren't, which ones are causing people to unsubscribe, that type of activity. So that's good to keep a check on once your sequence has been running for a while. So I'm now going to go back to content, and you can see the emails in here. Again, I would finish off my sequence by publishing the rest of my emails once I've got the subject lines and all the content in there. And I've changed the send delay to whatever I want them to be. In this case, I'm going to go for weekly, make them 7 days. And once I've got them that way, that's it. It's good to go. So now you can see when I go back to my list of sequences, now that I've created this, at the top here you see I've now got a 28-day sequence with 5 emails in it. So those 5 emails will take 4 weeks to be sent out to the subscribers whenever they join the list. So hopefully that's been helpful. That's how to simply create a basic sequence inside Kit, how to configure it with regards to when you want to send the emails, how you can exclude certain subscribers from the sequence, and how you can configure the settings so that the sequence behaves exactly the way you want it. So I hope you found that helpful. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers.